on in and sit down. You cut the hardcore crew chewing the fat. You cut us shooting the shit. You cut us in the moment.
That Neville's going to be exactly the same. Going to injure somebody, and his career will go down the pan.
Yeah, and of course, yeah. Well, I mean, when he needs Cena in the face, it looked like he meant to hit him in the side of the face, or in the cheek, but obviously he went a little too high and broke his nose. And me and Ms. Jack Shit were watching it last night, and she's like, "Oh, I don't think that's broken." I'm like, "Yeah, it's broken." It gotta zoom up, and his nose was bent right over to the left side.
Yeah, it looked like that scene in The Longest Yard.
He made Triple H look like he got a button nose.
Yeah. All I can say is thank God his girlfriend knows a good plastic surgeon.
You could tell there was a problem. I didn't notice it first. You could tell there was a problem when it showed you like a replay about 4 or 5 times. And when I looked in the top left-hand corner, because they split the screen in half, the doctor was in the ring. You just know.
Twice.
Yeah,
he was in there twice.
You know then there's shit's hit the fan.
You know, we were talking about how this could possibly affect SummerSlam, because most likely John Cena is now going to be the number 1 contender for the world title. Well, you know, guys, we are in the moment. We are, this is what we're starting off with, of course. And does Cena really need to be going for another world title run?
Hell no.
So we really need to see him again hold that belt. They should start moving it to younger guys.
And well, the question is now. I mean, we've seen these two go face to face before, and if I'm not mistaken, Seth Rollins came out on top. So this will be their second feud. Why not have him feud with other people?
You know what it is,
because Johnny Boy gotta have the title.
You know what it is, Rick? At this moment in time, they still haven't figured out who they're going to give shots to, because they moved Roman Reigns out of the way. They moved Dean Ambrose out of the way. Hell, Brock Lesnar is now in a feud with Undertaker. So really, let's look at the whole list there. You just eliminated your entire roster.
Well, in all fairness, there are 2 other people right now that could be step up. For one, you have the Mr. Money in the Bank, Sheamus.
He's been there too many times.
But he's the Money in the Bank. So, I mean, you know what? Too many times, there's nothing wrong with getting another title run. He's only been there 3 times. And that's within 5 or 6 years. Maybe even a little bit longer than 5 or 6 years. So, you've used that excuse that you hold the title too many times, and I kind of disagree, because when you don't have that much of a roster, you kind of have to go back to champions that work. Andy, would you agree with me or disagree with me on that one?
Yeah, I agree. I don't know what it is, but since Sheamus has come back, he doesn't seem... I know there's been a lot of patting him on the back and praises, and the crowd have been getting hyped up, but I don't know what's happened. To me, this is my personal opinion, Sheamus has come back as a mid-card. He's nowhere near the caliber he was when he went out.
Well, keep in mind, he was also getting injured a lot because he was doing a lot of the over-top heavy moves that even, Andy, you've complained about that some of the younger wrestlers do.
Yeah.
And I think maybe he's starting to slow down a little bit.
I'd put him down as an AJ Styles. He doesn't seem happy where he is. That's just how he comes over to me. He just does not seem happy.
I wouldn't go that far. I think right now he's playing a heel. So as a heel, you kind of, you don't have that happy, joy persona.
Well, what I mean is, like, I've always been a Sheamus fan. When he's been in ring, his matches have been enjoyable. Now his matches are becoming a piss break match because they're boring to watch. He's done a Carlito. I think he's lost heart for the business.
Oh, I hope that's not the case, or maybe he's just kind of toning down for a little bit and
going for a paycheck.
It's possible. I mean, those paychecks are pretty big, and we've seen wrestlers slow down and speed back up. And I mean, one person in particular who I could actually say did that a lot. If you remember CM Punk, he had a few title runs, and then he kind of just chilled out for a while. And everybody thought that his career was over before it came.
I think a lot of people need to take a step back. Okay, even Cena needs to take a step back and give others a chance and recharge the batteries, to be honest, because I think they push people far too much in the WWE.
Yeah, they do. Well, how about another name I'd like to throw in the hat? What about Cesaro? Cesaro's been kind of having some really great matches. He had some good matches with Rusev. He had some excellent matches with John Cena, showing that he really does have it as far as ring chemistry. His mic skills are getting there. They're still not top notch, but as a wrestler, as a performer, I think he definitely should be one of the top contenders. Joe, would you agree or disagree?
Let me ponder that a moment. Yes, he is a great worker, and his skills are getting there, and he's picking up steam. Do I see him as world title material? Not yet. He still needs a little bit more to go. By looking at the roster, I think the one person that could probably bring attention to the roster, to the world title, and if you want to throw in a little nostalgia, I think Chris Jericho.
You know what? I disagree, because Chris Jericho, he was great as a pusher to push the younger talent in, but I mean, I would not want to bring him back as a part-time wrestler just to win the title. You know what I mean? You might as well just give it back to Brock Lesnar or The Rock. I mean, and don't get me wrong, Chris Jericho in his heyday was phenomenal, and he was one of the better champions in WWE and in WCW for that matter. Do I see him coming back to win the title? No. Do I see him come back to maybe do a quick run when he's not doing tough enough? Possibly, but I don't think they'll ever put the belt on him again. We did talk about that during our special report about Hulk Hogan being fired. And Andy, we really didn't get a chance to get your thoughts. What do you think about Hulk Hogan being fired for those racist comments he made several years ago?
I think it's bang out of order. Not what he said. I agree entirely what he said. Whether that's classed as being a racist, I have no idea. But I think people have taken it out of context. And I was talking to a couple of friends when I read the article, and then I saw the Vince Russo talk that he did on his podcast. Think about it. Before people start being critical, think about it. If you're in the process of having a young daughter and you're not happy about her boyfriend, then you are going to come out with derogatory remarks behind the person's back. Whoever recorded the conversation or transcripted the conversation wants their arse kicking. And Hulk Hogan ought to be a bit more particular who he tells things to, because how many times have we all sat there? I've even had it. I mean, I've son. I haven't any daughters. My son, when he was 15, started to go out with a coloured girl who I did not like, not because she was coloured. And did I use racist remarks to my friends when they said, "What do you think of your son's girlfriend?" And basically, I went on a rant like Hulk Hogan. I hated the bitch.
Well, okay, and again, the comments that he made was in the privacy. It wasn't in the privacy of his own home, but if you remember Heather Clem, that whole incident where Hulk Hogan was having sex with Bubba the Love Sponge wife, it got caught on video, and apparently, if I'm not mistaken, he was making those. He went on that bit of a rant, about his daughter dating, a black man, which, again, I had no problem with interracial relationships. But for some reason, Hogan at that point in time was not happy with it. And, of course, he started spewing racist remarks. Was it right of him to make those racist remarks? No. But at least he did it in the privacy, behind closed doors, rather than, going on a mic or even on a radio show and start spewing them. That's where I think it's wrong.
I don't see how the WWE can fire his ass for supposedly being racist when WWE have been a racist company ever since they've been called a wrestling organisation. And that's a fact.
True. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, a lot of people have even questioned the WWE's motives as to why there's not been a lot of African-American world champions. So they're very few and far between. I mean, some would say The Rock, but people say The Rock Samoan. And even still, the WWE, they did lose $50 million in shares due to all this Hogan controversy. Joe, I know we did talk about it again, but now with all this other stuff coming out and them killing Hulk Hogan's merchandise, and now even fans are not even allowed to put signs or wear shirts during Raw events. What's your thought about all that?
I think the WWE shooting themselves in the foot more than once. And they're not just shooting it, they're using a bazooka on their foot. Why would you okay, this is comments that happened 8 years ago. Is it and again, we went through this whole rant. I'm not going to go through it again about race and all that. Hogan said it. He apologized for it. They could have gone with it. They now, ever since then, there's been people saying, "Oh, Booker T said it too. Oh, Vince said it too," and Vince apologized as well. So I think WWE should just, should say, you know what, we're sorry. We're bringing Hogan back. We all got in the heat of the moment. Here's a man that helped build that company, regardless if fans like him or hate him. That man, when you say Hulk Hogan, you think WWF/WWE. There's tons of WrestleMania videos, tons of WrestleMania moments, some Saturday night's main events. The list can go on. Where they would never be able to eliminate all of WrestleManias and all the history from their library, because then they can't show their Andre Hogan match, they can't show the Savage Hogan matches, they can't show WrestleMania 2. I mean, you can't even show WrestleMania 1. So they shooting themselves in the foot there. They should just say, you know what, we got in the heat of the moment, we all apologize to the fans and bring Hogan back, and that's it.
Well, you know what? Even if they didn't want to bring him back, even if they just suspended him, you know what I mean?
Why should they suspend him, though, for something that he's done out of work? It's got nothing to do with WWE.
You know what? I agree with Andy. And plus, here's a situation that he was illegally taped and then broadcast. So
True. But you know what, though, guys? If I may interject, whether it was done 8 years ago or behind, closed doors or whatever, which, again, I am 100% agree with you guys, you can't unring the bell. And the problem is, whoever did this obviously did it to get back at Hogan. It was done vindictively. And I'm sorry, people may agree with me and say, oh, no, that's not true. But guess what? It was. And the WWE kind of had to cover up, which they usually do. They like to sweep any problems there is under the rug. So should they have killed the merch? No. Suspended Hogan for maybe a month, 2 months until it all blew over and then brought him back? Yeah. That's probably what they should have done. Lance, what's your thoughts? Agree or disagree?
Well, I think the WWE pretty much showed where the line is when it comes to stuff getting leaked to the media. You can let your crank get leaked to the media, a picture of your crank getting leaked, but you say some and you'll be fine. Hell, they'll even make you world champion. But you say drop a few N-bombs, you're gone. At least we know where the line is.
And I don't really think that I think that line is constantly moving back and forth. And, again, we talked about this on our special report. I really don't want to continue to go on to it, but I think we all agree it's pretty much that Hogan got the shit end of the stick.
Yeah.
Sorry, Joe. Why do the WWE feel the need, though, to get rid of Hulk Hogan? Yeah, he's used the N-word in a derogatory way, but at the end of the day, WWE is a PG-13. Are we bringing kids up now to wrap them in cotton wool and not let them go out to play in the garden with their friends anymore? Are we wrapping them in cotton wool that people don't use the word N on an everyday basis? Whether it's right or wrong, isn't that for the child to decide what's right or wrong?
No, it should be for the parents to tell them that it's right or wrong.
Exactly. I have to agree with you there.
The problem is, what the problem is today? And I hate to say it, it's the internet. When the internet came up, it gave the power to the marks, power to morons, to the keyboard warriors, to spill out shit and put up shit to damage other people. This is a situation that it's out of control, and our society is flushing down the tubes. Put it like this: what happens if there's an issue where I don't know. What if Bret Hart accidentally says, well, fuck America? That means they're going to take out every Bret Hart story and DVD because, it's the politically correct thing because he insulted us? When is it going to stop? I think we need to stand up and say, hey, all right, he said it 8 years ago. Get over it. Let's move forward. The man built the company.
When did the rights of freedom of speech...
Before he left the company?
When did people's rights of freedom of speech sort of get taken away from them? That's what I want to know. If he wants to call black people an N-word, then that's entirely up to him. That's the way he deals with his business. I don't agree with it. Not everybody agrees. Some people probably will. But why ban him for something that... I don't care if he only said it last week. Why ban him for it? He didn't do it in the workplace. He didn't go to a wrestler and say, I'm not wrestling with him because you're an N.
Yeah,
So
I
what's
agree
the
with
issue?
you. And, the thing is, believe it or not, more people agree with that kind of behavior, or not behavior, excuse me, with that opinion, saying that Hulk Hogan pretty much didn't say it in the workplace. He said it years ago. Whether it was right or wrong, he should not have been fired. But the WWE, they have this big moral clause on their back, and they have to make sure that, anytime somebody does something or says something out of line, they have to distance themselves from it because they feel that, they're going to go under, and it's just not the case.
But they make movies. But they make movies where their superstars go and blow the crap out of people with machine guns. That's just hypocritical, in my opinion.
You know what? Can I also interject something here? What stops Hulk? What will happen? And I want to ask the panel here real quick, Rick. What if with all this negative backlash with the WWE, what if Hogan said, you know what, screw that, I'm making my own company? And obviously he's going to have the support from all his friends that are popping up, like all the, like the superstars like Dennis Rodman and, all these people who say, no, he's not a racist. What if all these people decided to start backing Hogan and he made a wrestling company?
He'd be bankrupt within 2 weeks.
Yeah, Hogan has tried to do wrestling companies in the past, and they really didn't go over that well. I think Hogan is better, more of a mark, or a face, a money mark, or a promo than to be an owner of a wrestling organization. That's just my thoughts. Now, could we see him maybe heading back to TNA or maybe even Global Force Wrestling? Absolutely. I think if Jeff Jarrett was smart, he'd pick him up. And some people may agree with me or disagree with me.
Actually, I agree 100%. I think he should take advantage of this situation and say, you know what? I'm going to make sure that I take all my Hulk Hogan merchandise and everything about Hulk Hogan over to another company, or keep it under himself and sell it on TNA. Because we all know Dixie's an idiot, so she's an idiot already for bringing in Jeff Jarrett. So Dixie will probably have no problems bringing in Hulk Hogan again and take full advantage of it.
Actually, if I may, TNA, from what I understand, has even pulled some of Hulk Hogan's merchandise because they want to kind of distance themselves a little bit because, let's be honest, they're not doing too great either. Which, you know what, I want to switch topics and let's talk about TNA for a minute, guys, and Ring of Honor for that matter. We've learned over the past couple of days that Destination America is now pulling the 8 o'clock time slot for Ring of Honor. And, Joe, you and I talked about this a little bit briefly the other day. What do you think is going on with Destination America? Do you think they're just trying a new show, or do you think they're really starting to distance themselves from the wrestling organization?
You know what? I think they're distancing themselves from wrestling in general. I'm guessing because if you read the article, they're the ones that were funding TNA and Ring of Honor. They were actually giving them paychecks to run their shows on their network. So these people probably say, we're spending too much money with these companies. I think it's time for us to start, dropping these companies and start doing something else, because wrestling wasn't the big audience maker for them. They weren't the big, how can I put it? They weren't the big,
the network pretty much sucked.
The network sucked, but they weren't the ratings machines that they were hoping for them to be. So I guess with all that, they decided to start clipping them. And I say, good deal. Get rid of them. Because I know for a fact, at least with Ring of Honor, they already got that national exposure. Even though it's been on a crappy little network, at least they got that enough exposure that they can now go to maybe Spike, who could probably help them.
Well, I don't think Spike really is, quick to jump to pick anybody else up yet, because they haven't even tried to. I mean, from what I understand, that Jeff Jarrett tried to make a deal with Spike, and so far we haven't seen that happen. So I'm wondering if maybe even Spike themselves are just throwing their hands up with the wrestling organization altogether, which has been talked about in the past. But Andy, Destination America trimming Ring of Honor and TNA. Do you think this is the right move for them, or do you think they're not giving them a fair chance?
Well, I think I was talking to Lance on his show about. We were talking about Ring of Honor, came up in conversation, and I think I made the comment then. I've been following the Ring of Honor product now, on and off for 4 or 5 years, and I've been following it this last 2 or 3 months, and I'll stick by what I said on Lance's show, and I might have said it on here. The Ring of Honor product is beginning to suck big time. When you watch the Ring of Honor product, they can have the WWE roster. It just looks second-class shit. The production value, everything about the show is just shit. It's worse than TNA. It's like watching an indie show televised. At least TNA have got the glitz and glamour, and it looks a bit like a bit of competition to the WWE. Ring of Honor just looks so grungy and so shit. It's unbelievable. I'm so not surprised they haven't pulled the show, to be honest. They can have all the best stars in the industry. The product looks shit.
All right. Lance, your thoughts about Destination America trimming some of the wrestling time?
Well, I think it'll hurt ROH less than it will TNA for one reason. ROH has had a big fan base just by internet feed. Yeah, they have probably got a few fans from the whole being on TV for a few months, but look at how badly TNA has suffered since going to Destination America. So,
well, even though
ROH will be all right.
Yeah,
ROH will be all right. TNA's fucked.
If you look at the Ring of Honor website, even the website's gone to the toilet. If you look at the website, their last update was about 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, they need new management. Which they actually do change management.
Yeah, it's as though they've actually dropped everything and just letting the television company run. And I was looking on their webpage, and they haven't updated the website in 5 weeks.
And that's not a good management either, as Lance pointed out, and even you pointed out. But, I mean, if for some reason ROH gets dropped, they have been in that indie environment where TNA, they're used to making them money through TV. I don't think, even though despite, the Carters do have, were a primary money source beforehand, that's going to be not just taking one step back, but that's like taking 3 steps back. ROH just got on TV, so I don't think it's going to affect them as much. Joe, would you agree with me or disagree with me?
Oh, I definitely agree. They needed the national exposure. Regardless how small and minuscule Destination America is, it still gave them that platform. And they did get over, and their ratings sometimes beat TNA's, which isn't hard.
Do you know, in my opinion, who they should be looking at?
Who's this?
Lucha Libre.
Oh, Lucha Underground, you mean?
Yeah, the one that's on the internet. That deserves to be on the television. That is...
I have to agree with Andy.
It's a different... Yeah. To compete with the WWE, you've either got to spend billions of dollars and look fancy with all your pyros and all your camera shots and look very polished, or you've got to do something different. And unfortunately, or fortunately, Lucha Libre Underground, whatever it's called, ticks all those boxes. It looks very polished, and it's a completely different show. It's like watching a movie with wrestling thrown in. They've got proper storylines that look like storylines, and the product is completely different than the WWE. They're not trying to be a competitor. They are being a different form of entertainment.
Not only that, they also bring back the old gritty arena feel. It's not like a big polished arena. It's really nice that the background is set. Even the grungy old locker rooms, it makes it look like, hey, this is one of them old time wrestling companies. And I think if given enough time, they could be pushed also into a main national network. I think people's just got to push them in and help them go. Like I said, right now, if Ring of Honor had the right staff to help them control everything, And if Lucha Underground got a major network, those two companies are going to be the breakaway companies that fans will want to see.
Okay. And right now, even Lucha Underground is on the El Rey network, which does get a coverage from a lot of people here in America. I don't know, Andy, obviously, if it covers if you have that station anywhere over. Okay.
No, the only place I can catch Lucha Libre is unfortunately illegal streams on the internet.
Well, and of course, speaking of that, we also have the Bay Area MVP, Will, who's always posting full episodes right on our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/Hardcore Wrestling Radio, guys. So for those of you who really want to continue to watch Lucha Underground or have never even seen it before, get on over to our Facebook page and check it out. Will is posting new episodes each and every week along with his heels and faces of the week.
Can I ask something real quick, Rick? If Lucha Underground got a major network and Ring of Honor got a major network, do you see possibly a return of the territories?
Yes.
Well, yes, but you know what? To be honest with you, Joe, I still say that the independents really is just a rare form or a weaker form of the territories. But to answer your question, do I think it's going to bring it back in full swing? I find that probably not. The only way that would really happen is if we saw just more than the two or three. I think we need to see 4 or 5 on TV. And I've even talked in the past that I think I would love to see just a wrestling network where they would have all these different, independent companies having different time slots. And Joe, you said that you don't see that happening because the indie scene or the wrestling scene is so harsh and so cutthroat that nobody would want to split or share those time slots. And I think it should really be up to the network because it would bring back wrestling back to the way of the old days, to the territory days, so to speak.
Oh, I agree, but again, the problem is if you even look back at the old territory days, there used to be in New York City the Wrestling Network, which was on the old UHF, if you guys remember that far back.
I do.
And they used to have programs from every company. I grew up watching wrestling from World Class, the NWA, Mid-South, Memphis, Florida. I mean, that network every day had a new company. And I think if they tried it today, you would just see each company trying to outdo the other one. Back then, nobody cared. They just were putting on the show. I think everybody today will try to outdo, and they look to kill the other product.
Well, but see, the thing is we have like streaming networks such as Netflix, the WWE network, and other ones. And with so many devices out there streaming devices out there, you figure that somebody would say, "Hey, you know what? I want to start this off." And you know what? If they're going to outdo each other, hell, that's all the more. It's going to do good for those individual companies, and it's going to do good for the fans. I don't see how that could be bad in any shape or form. Let's look back to the Monday Night Wars. WWE and WCW with some of the greatest had some of the greatest matches and some of the greatest episodes. Once WCW and ECW went under, WWE just threw back the throttle and started coasting.
Well, I'm going to throw a network show at you. If you guys remember this, Pro Wrestling USA. It was on Channel 11 in New York City, hosted by Joe Pedicino and I think Golden Sully. What happened was this was a show that Vern Gagne brought every promotion together, and they would broadcast their products. And what happened? Everybody was trying to outdo the other person and steal the other person. And the show kind of got a good rating because fans got to see, the fans won because they got to see all the major news and everything from different shows. Is that something that's missing in wrestling today? I think so. But if you were to do it today, that'll be like, us trying to outdo Billy's promotion or him trying to outdo us, or, all of us will be in constant fighting for fans. And what if a company says, hey, you know what? I'm coming in with more money than you guys will ever see, and I'm outdoing all of you.
And again, but the thing is I think so long as they each individual company had their own time slots, and they just send in their stream to this, they have that like 1 hour or 2 hour slots. It doesn't matter. You could have, Classic Wrestling Association, which is usually up in New Jersey, and then you could have Billy's wrestling company, hypothetically, who's down south. They wouldn't actually be involved in the same city, but the stream on the internet just picks it all up. And I think that's really is what's missing. And I know that you don't see it, but I think the problem is that nobody, especially in the indie scenes, really want to take that step forward and say, hey, let's make a gamble. Let's take a risk, because that's the problem with indies. I don't see any real risk being taken.
Oh, I agree. Many companies just don't want to take that extra step, go better, to become better. I've seen companies that they should never even be in business because they have the worst talent, the worst gimmicks. The ring looks like it was just put together with rope and 4 poles on the ground. What it takes is for all the indie companies to get serious and say, okay, we need to go. Another thing that will help will be the State Athletic Commission becoming fully active in every state and legalizing professional wrestling. And you'll do away with all these crappy little promotions, and you'll see the start to rise of the better promotions. That I would like to hear Lance and Andy what they think of this.
It worries me about because I know you've mentioned with running your own independent show. Independent companies are like, I can only put it down to like my paranormal stuff. It's all cutthroat. Everybody thinks they've got the best independent company or the best paranormal group in the world, and they just won't work together. And the only way it's going to work is if people can get this attitude from out their arse and work together, because the only way somebody's going to take Vince on is by working together. I'm not saying you've got to share your talent, but praise someone that's on TV this week, give them all the praise, all the publicity they can, then it's your turn next week and you do your bit, and have it like a competition. The one that gives the best product wins. Why not do it like Tough Enough or something? I've picked 10 companies, put one on, or 12 companies, put one on per month, get the viewers to vote which one they thought was the best production value, not the best matches, and then give them a contract for a year.
That's not a bad idea either. Lance, your thoughts?
Well, first, honestly, there are so many indie companies out there. We need to state that there is kind of a level between the companies. Like, you have your big names like ROH, Chikara, Dragon Gate USA, those. Then you got the smart guys like, CWA, Memphis Wildfire, Mid-South Extreme, stuff like that. It kind of all just depends on, like Andy said, if they all could work together. But I think CZW has its own kind of network type deal, like the WWE network, and I think New Japan does too.
And unfortunately, like I said, they're not really have that access to where you can get them on stream devices, and I think that is really the key that nobody has really thought about. Yeah, there's YouTube. I mean, you could pretty much watch any indie company that's on YouTube, no problem. But until they start putting it on the television where people can watch with a click of a remote, they're not going to get any further. And that's just my thought. Yeah. So, well, guys, you know what? I think we're going to wrap up this edition of In the Moment. And now we want fans, your thoughts. Of course, what do you think about John Cena and his new nose job? We also want to know, who do you think should be the number one contender for the WWE? Should it be John Cena, maybe Cesaro, or somebody else? Make sure you put your comments in the comment section below, and please follow us over at Facebook.com/Hardcore Wrestling Radio, and in your spare time, hit that subscribe button over at YouTube.com/HWR Show. We have the Classic Night Wrestling manager, Joseph Knight. Joe, you got a big event coming up in August. Why don't you tell everyone about it?
Well, it's called Summer Bash 2. It's our big summer event for the year. And it's on Saturday, August 29th in Boonton, New Jersey. So if you're in the Boonton, New Jersey area, we're at the Boonton Elks Lodge. It's, again, August 29th. It starts at 7 o'clock. In fact, our own hardcore wrestling radio boss here, Rick Head, will be live right then. We will be doing a live HWR show for the guys here and for the fans. We have a lot of stuff going on that night. We have qualifying matches for the Cruiserweight title. You're going to see a main event between the Fallen Angels defending their tag titles against the Down Boys. So stay tuned, fans. You can follow the CWA on our website at ClassicWrestlingAssociation.com. You can also follow us on Facebook at Facebook.com, Classic Wrestling Association. You can also follow us on Twitter at JKnightCWA. That's my personal Twitter. You can also follow us on YouTube. Boy, am I going to keep going with this. CWA Classic Pro. That's our new channel. You can also follow me on Facebook if you have a comment or you want to send me a message or just say hello. You can follow me on Facebook at Facebook.com, Joseph Knight Manager. And in the mortal words of Ric Flair, woo! I can't believe I got all that out. The Jim Cornette classes are helping.
And, of course, we have the incomparable Lance Moss, and you can check him out over at youtube.com/LanceMossTV. Lance, what do you got coming up?
I got album reviews, NASCAR discussion videos, Redneck Normal Cooking videos, musical equipment reviews. I got my live show coming up tomorrow night at 7 Central, 8 Eastern. Whatever else everybody else is, I'm bad at math. And, well, we're going to be talking about guitars and just hanging out. And, well, I think it's going to be some of my buddies. But the Hardcore Crew will be back on my show sometime relatively soon. Anyway, hit me up on Twitter. It's at LanceMossTV.
And, of course, we have, last but not least, he's my sidekick, he's my partner, and he is the host of Stoke Haunted. Andy, what do you got going on, and where can everyone find you?
Yeah, I've got an investigation on the 8th of August, which is a week on Saturday. That's the next one, which to play. I'm not going to say where it is yet. I'm going to keep it quiet. So keep checking me on Facebook or at www.stokehaunted.com. But one little quick gripe before we go. WWE did a really good job, I think it was 2 weeks ago, by bringing Ric Flair's daughter and a few of the other divas from the NXT. Thanks for making us watch them week after fucking week.
Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you, Andy, I know this is usually where we wrap up, but since they've had this new Diva Revolution, it's no longer a piss break anymore. I have to say that so far, even some of their matches have been better than some of the guy matches.
But,
you know,
but we've been calling for this for weeks and weeks and weeks, and now my issue is now they came in as three fractions. Can we see them fight as singles, please? It's going to be. I got sick of watching Paige against the Ballas. Now we can have a three-way tag match against all the Divas teams week in, week out, and it becomes boring.
Well, I have to disagree with you, Andy. If you watched last night, there was two single matches. Both, one was Sasha Banks and I even forget who the match. And
but like this, Rick, the fans, you had Sasha Banks taking on, I think, Paige. It was Paige, and you had Charlotte taking on Nikki Bella, I believe. And in those instances, the new divas, I call them the new divas, have triumphed over the old ones, and they have performed such moves that you just sit back and say, "Holy cow! These are really trained women." What gets me is really fast, Rick, and I know the panel's going to laugh at this. Isn't it unique to see Charlotte going woo and doing the Ric Flair bounce off the rope and strut? That's when you see that, the nostalgia comes back, but at the same time, she adds her own little twist to the Nature Girl image and kind of does everything even down to that figure four leg lock. So I got to say that, just like what you just mentioned, the Divas division is no longer a piss breaker.
Yeah, absolutely. And, a lot of the fans are really agreeing with that this whole new call-ups from the NXTs have really reshook the foundation of the Divas division, and it's a good thing to see. But you know what? We're going to wrap it up here. For everyone here, I'm your hardcore host, Rick Head, saying we'll see you when we see you.
Thank you for listening to this edition of In the Moment. Make sure you follow us at any one of our locations, whether it's YouTube, Dailymotion, and now SoundCloud.com under the name HWR Show. Until the next time, this is your hardcore host, Rick Head, saying we'll see you when we see you.